Morning, everyone. Today we are gathered here on the virtual platform of Google Meet for the webinar. The title of today's webinar is Web Technologies Classic versus Modern Approach to Web Development. And the guest speaker of our today's webinar is Mr. Jaimin Pandya sir. Jaimin Pandya sir have completed his BTech at GEC Dahod and completed his BTech in Computer Engineering, and he started his career as a PHP developer at Sphinx Solutions in Ahmedabad. Later, he started working as a lead developer Process Fast LLC, which is in Columbia, South California, and currently he is working as a PHP developer in Umbre City, Vancouver, Canada. So he have enough knowledge about the today's topic. So without wasting any time, I would like to tell Jaimin sir to start the session.
Okay. Thank you, Apurva and Nikunj. So let me start my topic, which is about web technologies. So I think for most of the listeners will be from the computer field, like doing computer engineering or maybe computer science or BCA. So let me start what I'm gonna talk about. So my topic is web technologies, digital project manager, classic versus modern approach to web development. So let me just give me intro about me. So I'm Jamin Pandya. I right now I work as a software developer at umbracity.com, and I have previously worked as a lead developer for opsinsights.com, and before that I was working with the consultancy company in Ahmedabad, which was providing IT services. So I was working with the Swing IT Services Ahmedabad as a PHP developer, and I did a bachelor's of computer engineering from GEC Dahod. So then let me tell you about my skills and expertise. So I mostly work with the PHP and different frameworks of PHP like YI, Symfony, WordPress, and I have also worked with the JavaScript frameworks like Node and React. Also, I am experienced with the database side, backend side, MySQL, MS SQL, Firebase, third-party APIs, jQuery, Bootstrap, and the normal thing, which is HTML and CSS. So I think I should start with the talking about how the internet works, like to know what how the www and internet and OSI layers and browser works. So like when you send a request, like what happens, like when you open a mobile and open a browser and go to any website, so what will happen? That is one of the very basic thing to understand, to know more about the web technology, so how it works. So that is a www, World Wide Web, which is a software application, and there is internet, which is the physical layer, which is like there are cables, cables connected everywhere, like cables in the Antarctic, Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, which connects Europe to America. So how those things are connected, like we make any request, like we now use mobiles, we think they are wireless, but none of them is wireless. Like when we open our mobile and open any website on our mobile, what it does, that it will just send a request to mobile tower, but that cellular tower is connected with the another cellular tower, and it is also connected with the whole double internet with those cables, not with wirelessly. Only thing, like right now, just a new product from Elon Musk, which is on going to be totally wireless, which will be providing a satellite internet. Otherwise, we are only using all of those internet, which is like wired internet. And but yeah, let me talk more about what matters to you guys. So if you are in India and you want to get a job in your field, so there are like different options. Like there are best options and there are easy options. So best options for them who can like learn very quickly and who are very intelligent, like who can get into IITs or very like who has really good CPA and everything. But most of the guys are not that good. So what they can do, they can do the easiest thing to get the field job. So like what is the easiest thing? So you do not have to learn the whole computer engineering. Like you do not have to focus on whole computer engineering, like the OS, the theory of computation, lot of subjects, the digital data design and all those subjects. You just have to focus on maybe one or two subject from your whole engineering, like whole 6 or 7 8 semesters. So that is maybe, I don't know, at the time I was getting education, there was only one subject which was uh, it was called web. I don't remember the whole full form it, but it is about website. So so what I'm trying to say is that like to get into computer field, the easiest way to get into computer field is to have knowledge to build websites. So websites, so like how websites are made. So they are basically made of different websites. If you see any websites, they are made of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, font, and assets like images and videos. There can be how that request is processed is another thing, but what website is made of, if it is a static website, then it is totally HTML, CSS, JavaScript, fonts, and assets, images. So how can you learn those things? So those are the easiest things to learn, like HTML, CSS, and there is another things like Bootstrap and material design and JavaScript. So these are so first you have to know what is HTML, what is CSS, and what is Bootstrap. So let me give you. I can create anything for you. So which can like so let me create a small project for you so you can know like how you can do things. So okay. So I'm just creating a project for you, simple project for you. So let me get this window also here. Okay, window. Okay, so mm, so okay. Let me do this left and this as a right. So I'm just like creating a small project so you can learn how one can create. So I have just created a basic small thing like small website which you can use. So I'm just opening this website in here. Okay, let me just I have to okay. So this is just a hello world HTML5 boilerplate. So easiest thing to learn HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. So let me show you how you can do this HTML. So this is a website, and when you run it, this prints hello world. This is HTML. and all these things. So this is created by this HTML. So this HTML is just a simple way which prints this hello world. This is boilerplate, HTML5 boilerplate, and this thing. So let me just give you brief info about like what is happening here. So, so these tags, like many of you have, if you have like projects or anything, you may have made a HTML project or anything. So this is just a head. If you know that this is where we define styles or where we define meta tags or title info, it doesn't like get printed here, but whatever is in the body part, it will be printed here. So here, whatever I will write will get printed. So there are now new ways like where we can just have it like wherever we write something here and it can get reflected. But I'm just giving you a overview like what is HTML and CSS. So the CSS thing. So what is CSS? CSS is for HTML is to print something on the website. So if you have to write anything, it is HTML. And if you have to like style anything, then it is a CSS. So let me say so it is CSS. So if you can color them and you can just do many things like from this HTML and CSS. So you can color, like you can give a background. So there are a lot of properties you can use. Background color yellow, and you can use. So there is also another thing. So let me just do that. There is also another thing which is a Bootstrap. So what is Bootstrap? So this is a CSS framework. So HTML is to create elements. Create elements means create elements on the website. So if you go to like google.com, to hear everything, these all things are element. These all things are element. You can right click and inspect element and check like how these HTML and CSS is built, like what they are using to style it and everything. So like let me create a simple thing for you. So another thing is a Bootstrap. So let me open it. Bootstrap. So what it is? Bootstrap is a CSS framework. So right now it is not. It was very popular. It was with the time. It was very popular. It is still. It is very popular. But right now, the CSS has got so much powerful with the flags and the grid that one do not need frameworks like Bootstrap. So if you see, just if you want to apply Bootstrap in your project, then you just have to copy the link and copy the CSS JS in that, and you will be able to use Bootstrap into your project. Now, if you see, our styling has changed. If you see, let me just roll it. So, okay, let me remove anything from here. So, if you see, there is this font is different, but if I do this and just uncomment that CSS, now I will see a different font Now the text is touching the top and everything. So here, let me, I can also show you this way. So here it is saying that body margin 0. So one can also do inspect and see like what style has been applied, what style is has been applied. So style means that CSS, what CSS has been applied to that particular tag, particular element. Then he can just go to particular element and just see here in styles like what thing is applied and check it. So this is what to use to build CSS. Like with that CSS, you can build things like this. I can also show like recently I just made a website for our company, and so here I did all those things with the CSS and JavaScript. So like whenever I scroll and things come, they are built with the CSS and JavaScript. So one can do many things with these things and go to different things and do many things. So that was like Bootstrap. So let me tell why people use Bootstrap. So Bootstrap makes it easy to create things. So okay, so let me give you an example. What can Bootstrap do? So class. There is another thing which is like really cool about called as to star, so which creates six new. So it is, I don't know, at Mac, yeah. This one is called, so let me show you this. Like if you are developing website or anything, then you can use like things like this to be more productive. Like here I am saying that div with the class is many times class is always defined with the dot, and id is defined with the hash. But let me just show you, and I'm saying that I need six divs with the call dash to class. So it will create six div, one, two, three, four, five, and six. So now if you see, then this is one, two, three, four, five, six are in in one row by default. This div, if we remove this, if I remove Bootstrap, then if you see, then those are in like different rows. But if I let me just do something so I do not have to make untitled php minus s 127.0.0.1 column 80. Okay. So I just started a server, so I do not have to close that dialog box again and again. Okay. So here I am. So here I have created this. So if you see, I don't know whether you guys can see. Let me say style. Just so if you see, like here, you can see that I have given a body, a style, which is a CSS of padding 15 px. Padding is like for inner, padding is for inner, like inner space between any element border. If you go to computed, you can see that this is a border and the element space. Let me give that border 1 px solid red. So you can see how is border. There is another thing. This is a box model of CSS, which is very basic thing of CSS, and there is a margin 15 px. So border margin, and this is padding. So if I do this, I go to like so if I go to this, then I can see everything for that element. Like how there is a padding 15 px, there is one border, there is 15, so I can see that. But if I go to that, I go to this line. This is a Bootstrap CSS, and I uncomment it. So Bootstrap CSS has been applied. Now what I can do with the Bootstrap CSS, that I can just roll it, and now I can go to this tab and I can, so now it is in one row. Like Bootstrap is famous for its grid system. So grid system is basically like how you want to put elements in your website, how you want to do those things. So you can define like different thing like call md. There are call md to call dash sm dash, let's say 6, call dash x, call dash x, extra large excel, call dash extra large dash, or maybe let's say 1. So I can define things like that. So let me define it for all. Call dash md dash. Okay, let me do 3 and 6. Then there can be also sm, call dash sm dash 4, 4, call access 12. So here call access 12. Okay, no worries. You can define it for different. So one thing, what it does, Bootstrap makes websites and everything responsive for us. So you can use. So here I can see and I can say from my knowledge that right now call md4 is applied, call md3 is applied, because like what happens that normally Bootstrap grid is like row start to end. So if we see grid system is means this is, so here it tells that you should consume 33% of the weight. You should consume 33% of the weight, 33% of the weight. I can also change it right now it is consuming call SM4, but let me say you should consume 6 and you should consume 6. Now there will be 3 and there will be, then you should consume 12. So we are right now small screen. So it will be like this. So there are 1, 2. So I am saying that these two will consume 6, 6. So by default, Bootstrap is, well, like Bootstrap is divides any row into 12 similar width divs. But when you change these classes like call sm6, you are telling that take half of the 6 means half of the. So let me, so here is the grid system is more defined. version 5 version. Let me go to version 4.6.3 and let me just here CSS. Before the like version 4 they were talking about like when there was no flags and grid, they were like really promoting this thing. Layout, yes, in the layout there is a grid. Okay, so they were promoting this grid really well. So here they define like one of the three columns, one of the three columns, one of the three columns, like how you can make three columns. Like now they have changed it for version 4 and version 5, how we have to define things. But you can use it like how extra small it is XS, small S SN, medium MD, large LG, and extra large XL. So how those things work, like here one can, how you can create views like that, like two in first row there are two things and in second row there, if you want to have three things, how you can create things like that, this can be done here. So this is a bootstrap which helps you create many different things. Not only this, there are components, bootstrap components, which can be used for the styling, like a simple alert, or there are like link colors, many things you can use it in the bootstrap. Like, so if you want to do projects, so you should use these kind of libraries which can help you to create things which can be done, like you have productivity, you do not have to create something from the scratch. And so you see many times like you want to create something and you think that how do I create, so you do not have to create from the start, you have to search for it, like whether that solution is already available, whether I can use it or not. So you can, so this is about the bootstrap. The same way there is, it is about material design. So material design is the same as the bootstrap, but it is from the Google. So let me material design the, no, material design Google. So it is the website material design. So when you use Android, so you know, like if you are using Android, then you are using material design. So all of the icons and everything they use, like if you have stock Android mobile, like OnePlus or any of the Realme or something like that, then those mobile has stock Android, and those stock Android has similar design like this. So here it is for Android, it is for web. So let me go to web. So here you see, so if you go to Android, you will see same kind of things, same kind of things. If you go to web, then also you will see things which are like similar, which are having similar attributes. So you can use these things into web. So they provide these things and you can use those things. And these are mainly CSS framework, and also they provide JavaScript support to handle any CSS functionality. Like here, those like if I go to navigation drawer, okay. So here, if like I click on something and it should react, then it cannot be done from the CSS. To do that, you have to use the JavaScript. So these all library provides CSS file, one CSS file, and another JS file, which supports those different things like opening a model window, like clicking tab functionality. Here we are seeing tab functionality. Let me show. Yeah, this is a tab bar. So all these things like provided for in the like material design, also in the bootstrap. Both have different design terminology. If you see, like both design is different. Here material design is having a different design, like they approach design in different way than the bootstrap. So you can also use the combination of both of them. So there, and there is a JavaScript. So you should not confuse it with the Java. So JavaScript is a totally different thing than the Java. Like it is totally used in websites where you write something JavaScript. Like so, let me. I can give you a simple example. So you can JavaScript is used for different things, like to get anything from that document. Like we call it document object model. So the whole HTML is called document object model. So you can use the document object document. Now we have query selector. Before we used to have like do not have query selector, all those things. So we were using jQuery and all those things, but jQuery is now no more. We can use plain JavaScript like the document.query.selector.row. Here I'm just writing row, but I am having class row, and then say $row dot query selector, then div dot ngth. So if you dot div query selector, or if you see like it says 6, so it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 div. But let me do something. So I want to select div with dot call dash sm dash 6. So I want to select only divs which has class call dash sm dash 6. So this is 2. So these are classes call 2, call md3, call sm6, call sm6, call xs1. So this only selected things which has these classes. So this selected this. I can also do many other things like array dot from. So this is JavaScript. So here I can use this, which is an array. Like if you let me show you that this is an array. Let me first finish it. Element index. The console, sorry. Dot element. Okay, sorry. So here it writes like console dot console dot log, which is used to log anything, and this is called console. So when you right click inspect element, this opens, and there is a console, and you can like print anything. So it is used mainly for when you are developing anything and you have to check anything, then you can do a console log and you can see. So it is also used to change those HTML or anything whenever you want. So if you want to do, let's say, new name, you can do this with that. Also, like you can play with the style. So like let's say element dot style dot set property, and you can use any style and you can apply it. So like let me choose style, like let's say color and make it red. Okay, what do I use wrong color? And unexpected identifier. So let me just okay, let me just copy this here so I can just better work with that script. We have to use type, but I don't know now. Now they are not using any more, but I am just used to it, so I'm using it. Command Alt L. Okay, so this was my mistake. So you should use IDs, which will help you do things. Like here, it should be this, not that. So here, so here you can see. So you can apply those script here also, and when it will load. So let me show like how it works. So when it will load, so here it is 1 2. But when you applied it inside your HTML at the bottom, and when you are loading it, so it will just directly whenever they execute that JavaScript, then they will change it. So you can do many things. So you can also change, like let me change one property, I think, which will make element dot style dot, I think, which is justify content, I think, display flags and justify content, display flags, justify content center. Okay. So I can do different things, like I can apply CSS, I can apply anything, I can change content, I can here like let me show you what I usually do. So here let me apply a class which will make things different. Document.query element and apply class list dot add. Okay, active. Another thing, like if you guys have any questions regarding what I'm doing or anything, you can ask me. You can ask your teacher, so I can just do something for you. Like if you have any, so I can explain you, because like I have a lot of things, but you can ask me. Okay, so this for overview, the JavaScript is something like where you have to just like which helps you to create these things and change the content of it, and to understand those websites. So there are many things like dynamic websites. So this is one is a very static website, which is very static, which we are just one page. We are using 2 3 JavaScripts and these things. This is a static website. So what is dynamic? Dynamic website is like where uh, data is coming, and that data is dynamic, like Facebook feed. Your Facebook feed is dynamic. Whatever you like. Uh, Social media websites, all those things are dynamic. So whenever you like open it, whenever you like open that facebook.com, that will be a different thing on that screen. So same as the news websites and everything, they change it daily. They use another thing which is like software, like content management systems, but this thing like Facebook and all other things, they use really way big architecture. They have lot of microservices. which is shared between different platforms, and with those microservices they create, so they have a really huge architecture. So in simple, if there is a website, let's say Zomato or anything, so what they use, like they use server side languages and databases and server side languages. So whenever you make a request, so on the basis of time, on the basis of who you are, so like let's say when you go to Facebook, or like whenever I go to google.com. So if you go to google.com, here it is simple google.com, just google.com, but they are showing my image, Gmail email. Same as you. If you go to your google.com in your website, then they will show you your image. So how do they do? So they how do they do? So when you go to google.com and you haven't done anything, so there will be a sign in button. So what happens when you sign in? They authenticate you with the data they have for you, like the sign in options, like your email and password. They validate that email and password in their database and check whether that information is correct or not. If it is correct, and then they will allow you. So once they will allow you, then whenever you sign in, they will create cookies, they will create session. Mostly they will create a cookie, and here on our cases they will have a cookie which will be saved on our browsers, and on the basis of those cookie will save information, like let me show you some of the information if I can get it. Network, okay. So uh, so if I open this www.google.com and response headers, so here they have set cookies, they have set all those cookies and everything for us. In that cookie they have information about like our profile id information and all those information, and those information is used to like get information whatever saved for us. So this is a cookie. So they have saved this information, like companies like Google and Facebook and things like that. They use very secure things. So they in, like not encrypt, but they keep that data in a way where they have saved things. So these are just IDs by which they will get data, what we have saved, what they have saved, what we know, what they have saved in our local. So they use cookies and things like that. So there is another thing which is client server model and request response model. So what, any device like a mobile device or laptop or anything, or every browser is called client. Any app is called client. If you are like not using uh, if you are using Xender to send the data, then one is client and another is server, where one sends the data and one receives the data. So like when you join network, so you become a client when you join a network, and whoever creates a network is creating a server. In simple, like if you want to understand what is client server model, then you should understand like how Xender works. So in Xender, like whenever we have to send photos or anything, what we do, like someone will create a network and other people will join that network. So whoever creates a network, that only one person can create a network which is a server, and many person can join that network, so those are clients. So there are basically clients are both can send and receive data from each other. There is a request response. So whenever we like go to any website, we send a request, we do get response. In that response, like let's say here, if you see, we get response like this HTML. Like when we say index.html, they will get this index.html. But what that index.html says, so once they load this index.html says that you should also download things like you should download this css plus normalize.css, main.css, this js file. So they call it that document tells them to download other things, so it can look so it can create functionality, like it can apply css, it can use those javascripts, it can use those images. So we make one request, we get a response, and in response they say that you have to also make these many another requests. So you make another request and you will get a response. So if it is another html request, then you will get response for that. And it may also tell you that you should get another you should send another request to get another data. So like let me show you like how it those request response model works. So like it is network. So here I am only asking to download index.html. But when index.html comes, then they say download normalize.css. So here we have said download normalize.css. Then we have said download main.css. Then it downloads main.css. Then here we have said download bootstrap.min.css. Then it downloads bootstrap.min.css. Then it downloads JavaScript modernizer.min.js. So we have to find it. Where is modernizer.min.css JS? So here it is. Min.js, plugin.js, main.js, bootstrap bundle.js, bootstrap bundle.js, analytics.js. So let me check. Where is analytics.js? This analytics.js. And then there is another request, this request. So here analytics.js has asked to make another request. Let me just show you like what is happening. So if I remove this, you will see that whole thing from this will be removed. So like let me just do it. So here analytics.js, now favcon.ico, let me check you extension.utils.html. So who is calling this? Okay. This is not this one. This is my extension, maybe Grammarly or something. What I am using my extension. So this is JS from them. So they are like whenever a browser is opening, they are making their own call because we have enabled them. So they are making their own call and just downloading things. So what they will do? So they will check all the inputs in the website like tax data and everything, and they will just apply their javascript code to that input, and it will help them to have a like grammarly check for them. So let me check here we do not see, but let me go to somewhere where we have input like let me say okay Json. So normally when things like this load, but I think it works on google.com. Those extensions have their own css and javascript, and whenever we open any html, then on the basis of their javascript, they will just apply to those things, and it will just check for whatever we changes make, and they will apply any spelling error or anything like that. So Grammarly does that. So those CSS and JS are maybe from those extension. So that's a request response model. So whatever I'm saying, it is about request response model. So like whenever we request thing, it tells us to download another things. We download another things. It tells us to. So we download everything until we find everything till that page is processing and processing. So that request response model. So let us come to server side languages. So what is server side languages? So server side languages are those like when you make a request. So here we are making a request. So let me just change something. Index.html. I will refactor this file. And right now I am running a PHP server. So if I make any changes, then there won't be any problem. And I cannot have this file, but I have to go to index.php. It will render same thing. But what PHP does, that PHP provides us to do things dynamically. So it provides like functions like this: echo, date, y dash m dash d. So we can echo things. So we have a date now. Also, you can do in PHP things like that. You can also do things in JS. Now people do few things in JavaScript like Node.js and everything. But this is a server side language. So what happens that it goes to a server, and server, what server does? So server will check that and what is code in the PHP. Then they will transfer it to a HTML. They will create a HTML and they will send that HTML to browser. So browser will not know that what happened at server. Just server will transfer, interpret, and compile all the code into, that's an interpreter, not the compiler. They have interpreter. So it will interpret all the code and it will create HTML from them, and they will show that HTML. So there are different kind of server side languages like PHP, Node.js, Ruby, Python, .NET. So .NET was not open source, but they have become open source now. But so that's why, like when I started creating website in maybe 2013 or something, so there were only PHP, like maybe 33% of the websites were made in PHP. It's still high, but not that much. Now there are different languages, Node and Python. They are like pretty good, and they are creating very like fast websites. So people are using them. Also, they are using PHP, but now it is not like 33% of the websites are from PHP. Now it will be 10-12%, but not 50%, 30%. So these are server languages. Like from server languages, what you can do, uh, so you can do things which like here, let me say, here I am having one. So here what I can do, like here I can do PHP. I can create a loop. Reason six six. Businesses I need six. And I can let me put something. Let me say, okay, not, I will not, what I will do. So let me go to PHP date function. So this is a PHP date documentation. So I'm going to documentation of the particular function. So here it gives me options for that date function. So let me check one thing. PHP date. I don't know why they are not in here. Okay, it's a W. Saturday, not W. So March F. Okay. So here F stands for the whole month. So let me go to F or 01. Okay. I've been moving from PHP to JavaScript and JavaScript to PHP. So what happens that in PHP the dot as a concatenation uh, operator, but in JavaScript you have to use plus plus. Like in JavaScript, if you have to do this, then you do not use dot. You use plus. So okay, I can also do something. So here I am printing the month and what I can print, maybe I need a day. What will be the day of the, okay. So here I'm printing the month name and the day name of every first day of the month. So like in 20, let me go to 2021. So you can do things like this when you go to like yeah, here I have created. So here our JavaScript change our HTML code. So what is a non-well formatting? Okay, 01 dash y dash m dash d y dash m dash d. Okay, I also have to do. Okay, let's say this. Okay, we are coding, but a non-well formatting. Okay, line 40, line 40, line 40. So $I plus one. $I plus one is not formatting. So this is warnings and errors we get when we do this. So let me check because I have to do this here. So let me do this one. Okay. So here it says that there is not a, so it is about $I. Let's say $I greater than 9, then you do not need it. But if then you will need a 0. January Thursday. Okay, let me 2020 y dash m dash d. Let me just okay 03. Okay, let me give you a simple example. March and okay $I. Okay, function a non-well-formed numeric value encountered in number. Okay, it's asking for timestamp. Okay, let me. March and Friday. So it was my mistake. It is asking for timestamp, and I was providing a date. So yes, it shouldn't be like that. Okay, so it should be like this. This is a PHP function, and which equates. Let me just note for now. Okay, it is just a printing right now. Let me do something else, which can say. So I can have done it if else, but let me say time new date time. I can use functions like this. So basically, what was the idea? That I will create a simple HTML where I will show you like how you can use this server side language to generate. Like you are just creating a one div, but in different divs you are having a different data. So let me so like how so let me just see so $I. So you will have a different $I. So my idea was like here we have 1 to 11. Let me say less than or equal to, so we have 1 to 12. So I can print it 12 months name. Let me just check a PHP function which I can use. Okay, so I need a timestamp. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Because last time what happened that we didn't have any time at the end.
Yes, Jamin sir.
Yeah.
Once you finish, I'll ask. Oh, already done. Packet manager. Okay.
Okay, so I was going to talk about the classic and modern approach. So what is classic approach? So the classic approach was where we were using languages like PHP. So this where we are creating HTML and JavaScript together, but and we were like interpreting all the HTML, and we were just giving that HTML uh, to website. But now the approach has changed. So what happens in modern approach that we do not send anymore this um, we do not interpret HTML. We do not mix it HTML server side language with the HTML. So right now the approach is stateless approach and the API approach. Stateless is another thing, and stateful is another. Like stateless is like server is not knowing whether one is logged in or not. So here, when we open google.com, then when we send a request, server does not know whether we are logged in or not. A client, a browser will say that I have this data, and based on those data, it will send a request. In that request, it will say this is the user ID and this user has been logged. So they will have a user ID. Now what will they do? The server side language will query data. It will ask a database to have a data, for that thing and query that data and generate like create that data into a JSON format or another format like XML format, JSON format, or maybe another one, and they will send it to the client. So when we send this HTML, so if we see we have a lot of space remaining and everything, but when we send JSON or things like XML or anything, we can compress them and we can also send them like do minification and everything, and we can send it so it will be like very small, like 1 KB, 2 KB, 3 KB. Here, if I just load this website, this is like a very small amount, but still, like it will load a lot of things. Like the main document is 3.6 KB. So, so in new websites, what happens? Like, let me show you one of that one. Uh, Distracted. This was like my college project back. It was very old. So here it just loads everything for the first time, and once it has loaded everything, then rest of the thing, whenever we come, it will be just the JavaScript and all those type of thing. Like it will send a request, but it will be like this chunk of JS. There won't be too much thing. So this is just a, images which will be obviously loaded if they were not loaded again. So if we go to about and if we come back to team, it will load it. But here if we see like it will be used from catch or something like that. Like here if we have data GMT, ETEX server, so we can use catch and think yes, catch control public max is 0 must revalidate. So it says do not catch it. Max is 0. Otherwise, if max is not 10, it will be catch. So we have like previously we have to like download any library, like whatever we have to use. We used to download that soap library, that CRUD library, and things like that. But now we have package managers. Like PHP has its own composer, Node.js it has its own npm. JavaScript has its own yarn package manager. Then Ruby and every other language like Python has PIP. Ruby has their own. I don't remember the name, but they have their own. So they have their own package managers. So in classic, like UI made with server side language, what I said, like HTML and PHP, all those are like spaghetti code, what we call spaghetti code, which will be there at like server side. But now what happens that at server side there will be only a logic code where we run like different where we get data from database. We will format them in particular format based on our API documentation, and we use it. Previously, we were using jQuery. Now, like we are almost like people are almost not using jQuery anymore. Like yeah, websites are using WordPress are using jQuery. Bootstrap was using jQuery, but now they are going JavaScript because like JavaScript and CSS both has been improved in a way that they do not have to use jQuery or Bootstrap. Now we were like used to like deploy code manually. Like what was happening that when you finish your code, one has to make a zip, then that zip will be like uploaded to the server, then you have to unzip it and make a backup and everything, and then like something breaks or anything thing on the website, you forgot to make any change, and that can like just break that website, and you will not know what was the fault or thing. But now what we have continuous integration and continuous deployment. So what happens that so whenever you finish your code, so like you have to know about the version system, which is a Git. So what happens that in Git that it stores code and it also versions that code. So whenever you make a push of your code on the basis of configurations at your VCS provider like GitHub or GitLab, they will make continuous deployment and integration. Like they will test those builds, whatever you have sent, and they will just deploy it and create it. So there are things like this, and that can modern way can really improve your web development. So you do not have to worry about like small issues you will be facing every time and every time. Now everything is automated, so you do not have to worry about many problems, and you have to focus on only on your problem what you are solving. So yeah, that's it. So now if you have any like questions or anything, you can just ask me. Hello. Okay, so what else? These are about the package managers, which is Composer, npm.
Yeah. Sorry, sir. That was connection disturbance.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
Yes, sir. One question is, what is difference between Java and JavaScript?
So Java is it is JavaScript is for HTML. So like JavaScript is only used when there is a browser. So to use JavaScript, one needs a browser. Browser it can be anything. Like you can have a browser technology in any application, but that JavaScript to run JavaScript, one needs a browser engine. Like Google has its own has its own WebKit engine, and maybe Mozilla and Safari has their own engine. Chrome has its own one thing, Chromium. On the base of Chromium, there are different browsers. So and Java is another thing. Like Java, to run Java, you need a compiler from Java. So which is like JUT or something, which you need to download it from Oracle website, and then you have to run that on your machine. So Java is like there are enterprise level language for Java, so which is used to create softwares like these browsers or mobile applications, and many things are used to uh, build in Java, but though they are very different. JavaScript is only for websites, and Java is for desktop applications and things like that. But now you can use also JavaScript can be used to create desktop application. So there are now frameworks which supports, but those frameworks needs to have a background which help you to create those applications.
Okay, sir. One more question is, what are the advantages of JSON?
Okay, yeah. So Jason, let me so what can you do with the Jason? So here all this data. So if I download it from if I download any website data from uh, server side language, I can download it in HTML, whole HTML. But what other things I can do? I can just pass a JSON and use JavaScript frameworks like React, Angular. and things like that to use those information provided in the let me show you an example of JSON. So here, this is an example of JSON. So let me go to network, then XHR. Okay. So here, um this is React website. So here, if I see I have sent a request, like I have sent a different request, but for this, if you see, I do not have created this HTML. So like if you see, let me show you. So if I refresh it, then you will see that this is a loading, then there is a this loading, then there is this loading. But if you see, it was loading and the data come. So what happened that when I made a request to whole website, then it loaded that whole website. But what happens that on each of the part there is like a loader. So the data at that part is not loaded. It will be loaded once website is fully loaded. So it will send another request to load this data. So here I will send this request misinformation right now because of maybe it will not like work when I go to directly. But if you see response, so in response I will send the data like here I have sent the data that here date face mark use cause lung cancer. So here the data is provided, type is provided, and link is provided, and fact checker is provided. So I will provide this data here, and I will use this is a JSON. If you see, this is a JSON, this is a response, this is JSON. I can go to JSON link and validate that data. So what happens? JSON makes your website speedier. So you do not request data when you load it first time, but you make request simultaneously. So here I have made a request simultaneously. Like here there are 4 requests: misinformation 1, 2, 3, and other are CSS. But let's see these 4, and we will see. Let me show you. So to show you this, let me this one. Okay, we are loading, and okay, here these things are loading. But as soon as we get this data, those graphs gets built. So here in 2, we are getting data for this whole graph, like record cases comparison. So here we got yes, record cases comparisons: Canada, Brazil, Russia, China, and here this tells a series like Canada record cases X and Y, and on the basis of that I will build the data at client side. So I just did not create whole HTML, this whole HTML. Like previously we used to create whole HTML at server side and sending that HTML at client side. This is a high chart. We cannot create this one. We have to create at local. So I just used this JSON. So this way what happens that website is like we do not do all the processes in one request at server. What we will do, so when we load a website, so best example I think it would be Twitter. Like if I go to Twitter, so what Twitter does, so they do not load anything so they just load a symbol. Now we will load these, and then they will load things one by one. So now you can see, like now they will load. So in JSON, what happens whenever create a website like that, we send the data in JSON, then we use JavaScript framework like React and Angular to use that data to add HTML elements dynamically to the website.
Okay, sir. One more question. as we have sir computer engineering student, so
Yes.
they are really interested. How's the career path further for computer engineering students? And
Okay.
regarding Canada also, it
Okay.
is
Okay.
personal regarding.
So I would suggest if you are like in computer field, what you should do, like you should learn things like this, like coding, simple website coding and all those things, creating websites, few websites, and creating your own portfolio and things like that. So you can get initial level job at anywhere in India, like in Ahmedabad or Vadodara or maybe Bangalore or any place. So you can get a simple job, and once you are comfortable, then you can like maybe in our sector there is growth is really good than other sector, then you will be able to make like enough like 20-30,000 within 2-3 years. So one can make 30-50,000. Like if you are good at coding, you will be able to make like 50-60,000 in 3 or 4 years. But yeah, and another thing about Canada, I will say that uh, before coming to Canada, and if you are not prepared for like if you are not having a job experience from India, then here it is only like jobs which are only other jobs which are not a field job. So one has to do those field jobs, because what will happen, like when you come to Canada for study or anything, then you have to pay fees or anything. So you will just spend time in doing those things, so you will not be able to learn, give a time to learn those things. So I would suggest to give time when you are in India to learn those things, even establish yourself, like have a 1 or 2 year or 3 year experience, and come here. And then if you like, I also come here as a student, but most of the students from my class were doing jobs which were like normal, like in jobs in the Walmart or different stores or anywhere. But I was doing job in a company before. I was as I was a student also, and I was doing a job in company just because I was having experience. So I would suggest like whoever wants to come to Canada and you are doing computer engineering or something like that, just take 2 or 3 years experience in India and then think about coming here. It will be beneficial to you. Otherwise, if you do not have any experience from India, then it will be very hard to get a job once you are like s- once you finish your graduation. And even it job can help you getting PR easily. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Jamin, sir, for your valuable
no
time.
problem.
And we have a very interactive, informative session. We have started with Bootstrap, with JavaScript, okay, JSON. We
No,
just
that's
learned the
really good.
JavaScript, okay. Then dynamic websites, responsive websites, okay. We go through these all topics, and these are the modern topics. And thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
We would also like to thank you, our computer department HOD ma'am, Mrs. Poonam Faldu, and our principal sir, Professor Jatin Vaidya, uh, for their continuous support and encouragement to our department. So thank you, sir, and we
Okay.
will look forward for one more session in future also.
Yeah,
Thank you,
no
Javin, sir.
problem. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, sir, you may leave now.
Can I stop my
Yeah,
presentation?
yeah, sir.
Yeah.
You can stop
Okay.
and you may leave.
Okay. Thank you.